We got some new data this morning about shifts within a group that was key to Donald Trump's election victory in 2024. With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
And we're talking about Latino voters. There was so much discussion leading up to November 2024, then so much discussion immediately after it. Where are we now?
Yeah, where are we now? What a different world. Oy vey if I'm the president of the United States, because just take a look here. Okay, Latino voters on Trump. He won a record share for a Republican presidential nominee, 46% of that vote, going all the way back since we had the advent of exit polls back in 1972. And look at where he is today. His job approval rating in an average of CNN polls this year, 28%. That is an 18-point drop. The bottom has completely fallen out when it comes to Donald Trump and Latino voters. He won record numbers of them back in 2024, and they have abandoned him with the utmost just dislike of what he is doing so far. Just 28%, a drop of 18 points.
Now, among Latinos, it was Latino men who were driving this movement toward him in 2024. Where are they now?
Yeah, you think that this movement is a lot? What about Latino men? Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay, Latino male voters. In the 2024 election versus Kamala Harris, look at this. Trump won him by 10 points. Look at the net approval rating now, minus 41 points. That is a movement of 51 points, a shift away from the president of the United States. Latino male voters supercharged that record performance that Donald Trump had with Latino voters, and they, like Latino women, Latinas, are moving against the president of the United States, minus 41 points. Again, the bottom has just completely fallen out. And of course, when you look across that political map, there are so many races that will be involving a lot of Latino voters. And when you see numbers like this, I just go, uh-oh, if I am a Republican running for Congress.
We'll talk about one of those races in just a moment. But wait, there's more before that, which is, look, this new CNN poll this week talked about just how people have enormous concerns about the economy and enormous disapproval of the president on it. What are Latinos saying about that?
Yeah, okay, I'm going to take 2 for 1 here. It's a 2 for 1 special here on a Friday, or mid-Friday morning, I guess. Latino voters on Trump and the economy. Look, one of the big reasons why Donald Trump put in that record performance with Latinos back in 2024 was because the issue of the economy. They trusted Donald Trump by a 3-point margin against Kamala Harris. But look at his net approval rating on the economy now. Oh, yeah, Johnny B said it best over there. Look at that. Minus 46 points. That's, again, another near 50-point movement against the president of the United States on the number one issue. No wonder the bottom has fallen out with Latino voters and Latino men in particular. And you're talking about one of those races, right, Johnny B? One of those races. Why don't we go to Texas, right? The chance that the Dems win the Texas Senate race. Of course, James Tallarico going to be that Democratic nominee. Look at this. In January, look at this. He had a 19% chance of winning. Look at where we are now, a 45% chance of winning. That number is up through the roof. And part of the reason that number is up through the roof is because a lot of Latino voters turning against President Trump, and it could be that they turn against Republican nominees for Congress and for the United States Senate in particular.
How do Americans view the Secretary of Health and Human Services?
Yeah, drama in that department worthy of a soap opera. And I will tell you, the MAHA math, which used to be good, is no longer good in the minds of the American public. Let's just take a look at RFK's net favorability rating. You know, you go back to January 2025. He was in the plus side. He was a positive for this administration. But down he goes into the Red Sea, now minus 15 points. And among independents, he has gone from plus 7 to minus 26 points. Remember, RFK was a very important endorsement that Trump got during the 2024 campaign. And there was a reason for that. He brought a lot of voters with him, which seemed positive by a lot of those in the electorate. But no longer RFK Jr. clearly in the red.
How is the president doing, broadly speaking, on the issue of health care?
Yeah, if we talk about health care, why don't we just look at the highest disapproval ratings for presidents this century? And you can see it right here. The one in red on your screen, Donald Trump, 65% disapprove of him on health care. That is the highest. That is the highest for any president this century. Biden was at 57%. That was his highest. Obama, remember, this was around the Obamacare debate, right? He was at 63%. Trump's actually beating him on this score. It's just a score you don't want to be winning on. And then, of course, Bush, when there was all this talk about privatizing Social Security, he was at 63%. But Donald Trump takes the cake on this issue, 65% disapproval, the highest for any president this century.
I have to say, my major takeaway here is how unpopular every president
that is also
has
true.
been on healthcare. I'm surprised that everyone doing so badly on this issue, given what a big issue it has been over the last several years. All right. Robert Kennedy Jr., obviously one of the biggest issues surrounding him, his controversial views on vaccines. Like, what are Americans saying about that?
Yeah, let me just tell you that Democrats would love for the 2026 midterm elections to be about vaccine policy, because on this particular issue, they are trusted far more than Republicans. Look at this. They got a 16-point lead on vaccine policy. You know, there are other parts of MAHA that I think are more popular, such as taking out, food dyes from certain foods. But the bottom line is that when it comes to vaccine policy, that is not a popular part of the MAHA movement. Democrats crush on this. Any talk about vaccine policy in this country, especially changing it, Democrats win politically speaking, no doubt about it. The numbers clear as day.
It'll be very interesting to hear what is actually said out loud from the administration,
yes,
not just HHS, about vaccines between now and November.
Yeah, I think they're going to really have to tiptoe around it unless they want to take the wrath of the American public.
Gas prices up cents to an average of $4.53 per gallon. You can see how much they are from before the war. And the rising gas prices are fueling its huge jump in what businesses had to shell out last month, the Producer Price Index. With us now, CNN chief data analyst Harry Enten. So gas prices above $4.50 a gallon. You hear people talking about it. I had a Republican congressman tell me he paid $100 to fill up his tank. Right? That's a lot of money. Where does the president rank when we talk about approval on gas prices?
You know, oftentimes when gas prices go up, the president pays a price, but never this much, because we're talking about a record here. Take a look at this. Highest disapproval on gas prices. Look at this. President Trump, 79%.